Let's be real for a second. We all saw the ending of Spider-Man 2. Peter Parker, the man who carried the entire Insomniac universe on his back since 2018, hangs up the mask to go focus on his personal life. At the time, we thought, okay, a little break is fine, but it's March 2026. The Spider-Man 3 leaks are pouring out of the Insomniac like a broken pipe, and the picture they're painting isn't a vacation, it's a permanent replacement. With the introduction of Cindy Moon, aka Silk, Insomniac is doubling down on a 3 protagonist system that threatens to bury the OG Spider-Man under a mountain of a new era padding. Today we're looking at the internal roadmaps, the Yuri Lowenthal couch comments, and why this shift might be the biggest mistake in superhero gaming. Is Spider-Man 3 gonna be the masterpiece, or are we witnessing the MK1ification of the webhead? Now before we get into this video, if you don't know me by now, I'm Mr. Frosty Flames, but you can call me Mike. I do everything gaming reviews, news, analysis, commentary, gameplay, playthroughs, everything. So if you like gaming, if you like these types of videos, and if you like daily uploads, I've been uploading daily for a while now, make sure you like, comment, and drop a sub to join the Mr. Frosty Flames Legion. Now anyways, back to the video. So the first thing I'd like to talk about is the Silk leak and, the protagonist problem. So these leaks, we've seen the concept art, we've seen the early dev footage of a female character swinging through a blocky, unrendered New York. It's confirmed. Cindy Moon is probably going to be playable in Spider-Man 3. Now in the comics, Cindy is a great character. She's fast, she has organic webbing, and her silk sense is actually more powerful than Peter's. But here's the problem from a game design perspective. We saw this with Spider-Man 2. Balancing two lead characters is hard. Miles' story felt a bit rushed, and Peter's symbiote arc felt like it needed 5 more hours to breathe. Now add a third person. Now that's 3 skill trees to grind, 3 sets of collectibles, and 3 separate narrative arcs. If you're playing as Cindy for 30% of the game and Miles for 30% of the game, that leaves Peter Parker, the guy who started this whole masterpiece franchise, with less than half of his own sequel. On PC, we've seen the modders try to hack Silk into the game, and the animations are cool for sure. But is that worth sacrificing the emotional depth of Peter's final chapter with Norman Osborn? I don't think so, because me personally, I remember when I played Spider-Man 2, I was a bit disappointed because I felt a lot of the arcs were a bit rushed. If you look at the movies, look at the Tobey Maguire movies, I loved that whole black suit Spider-Man arc. In the games, it just felt rushed. It felt like it was over too quickly, and that was because we had to balance out and give time to Miles, and then it just left, Peter's story a bit unfinished or a bit like lackluster. And the same could be said for Miles. So if you add a third character, it's really going to be unbalanced. The only way that they could fix this is if they, pad out the game time and make it way more longer than what they have in the past. Because usually I've been clocking in like at least 20 to 25 hours. I remember if I go for 100% completion, it is like closer to 25 to 30 hours. I might be wrong, but that's just what I remember off the top of my head. But if you're gonna do that, you need to at least do like a 30 to 40 hour game. Give that extra 5 hours and fully break down each character and let the story flow naturally, and just don't rush anything, because I want to see Silk as a playable character. I love comics, I collect comics, and she is a wonderful character, and frankly an underrated character that should be more represented in the MCU and in the Spider-Man universe, etc. So I love her, but I just don't think it would be good for a game design standpoint. Now everyone keeps pointing to Yuri Lowenthal's recent interview, and if you guys don't know, Yuri Lowenthal is the voice actor of Spider-Man, so it has a lot of value, and he says, and I quote, "Peter is not gone. He won't be relegated to the couch, I promise." Now the problem with that, is listen to the phrasing, not relegated to the couch. That is very low bar. You know who else isn't relegated to the couch? Genki, MJ, those characters. Being present and being the protagonist are two very different things. But you know what my theory is? Peter's gonna be the oracle figure for the first 2 acts. He'll be like the mentor guy. He'll be giving Miles and Cindy advice over comms while he tries to fix his life with MJ. He'll suit up for the big moments, but day-to-day hero work, I think that's being handed off. And here's the issue. We didn't fall in love with the series to play Spider-Man mentor sim. We fell in love for Peter Parker. We want to be Peter Parker. I think that, the other 2 Spider-Mans are good, but it's just not the same. And you could take a look at Miles Morales. That game was good, but it was a spin-off obviously, but that game was good. But people want to be Peter Parker, especially finishing that saga with Norman Osborn. That is a personal thing between Peter and Norman. And this brings us to the villain, Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin. The leaks show a version of Norman that is absolutely demonic. This isn't a guy you beat with a teachable moment or a Miles Morales bioelectricity blast. This is Peter's arch nemesis. This is the guy who's been haunting Pete since the 2018 game. If Spider-Man 3 is supposed to be the end game of this trilogy, it has to be Peter's victory. If Cindy, Moon, or Miles are the ones who ultimately take down the Goblin while Peter provides tech support, it will be the biggest narrative fumble since probably the MK1 ending. You can't spend 3 games building up a rivalry and then let the new kid on the block finish the fight. It kills the stakes, it kills the emotional payoff. It's like having a final boss in a horror game and then a random NPC jumps in to save you. It's just so unsatisfying. Alright, let's talk specs for a second, because we know the PC port of Spider-Man 2 just dropped last year and it's been a technical roller coaster. If Spider-Man 3 is aiming for a 2028 release on the PS6 or sort of like late PS5 cycle, the sheer amount of bloat from the 3 protagonists is gonna be insane. We're talking about 3 different movement styles. Cindy is supposed to have like web constructs, which I think is really cool. She could literally build things out of silk. That's a massive jump in, mechanical complexity, and that could be a really different style as, Peter and Miles. But my biggest fear is that Insomniac is chasing sort of like the Grand Theft Auto 5 3-character system without realizing that Spider-Man is a character-driven story. It's not a heist movie. When you switch characters in GTA, you're switching perspectives. When you switch in Spider-Man, you're switching which color spandex you're wearing. If they don't make Cindy feel fundamentally different, she's just gonna feel like a reskin. And I feel like, GTA could get away with it because it's GTA. This is Spider-Man. My biggest, fear is, all of them are just going to feel the same. They did a sort of good job between, Miles and Peter, because they gave Miles the electricity, the Venom sort of powers, right? And they gave Peter, his typical Peter powers and plus the symbiote powers. And I think, it was good enough. But to justify, the price point, because then again, games are going up to $70. We need a bigger reason to buy the game. We need something to satisfy us more, especially in these type of games. We don't want it to be the same. We don't want another fluke. Or I'm not saying Spider-Man 2 was a bad game, but it was just disappointing compared to the first game. And to avoid that from happening, we need something drastically different. I'm looking for like all of the characters to feel fundamentally different and have very unique perspectives in how they play and how they act, their role in the story. I want a longer game. I want a better game, and that's my view for Spider-Man 3. If they're gonna tie it in, I want them to go out with a bang. I don't want them to just give like a BS story or anything, because Spider-Man is really in my heart, because he's one of my favorite superheroes, and the hype of Spider-Man is really real right now. And I know they're releasing Wolverine this year, so it has to be some sort of Spider-Man. Either they leaked a Venom spin-off. I don't know if that's even gonna come out, but definitely after Wolverine, Spider-Man 3 is gonna be in the works. It's practically confirmed at this point. So what we could do now is just wait and see. And I hope that it's going to be better for everyone. I hope it's going to be the best Spider-Man game we've had, because I'm really craving that experience from 2018, playing that Spider-Man game and playing as Peter Parker, and just a fresh experience. And I just want to let you know, some of these leaks that I'm talking about are from the Insomniac data breach. So a lot of these leaks aren't available now, but I thought I'd just share them with you as like an update of where we're at now today. A lot of these leaks got taken down due to copyright, but I figured I'd just make this video because the Spider-Man movie trailer's coming out, and the hype for Spider-Man couldn't be any higher. So in the end, where do we stand? The leaks tell us the scale is bigger than ever. The voice actors tell us Peter is around, but the vibe is shifting away from the grounded personal story of the PS4 era and towards a Spider-Verse style ensemble cast. And to be honest, I'm worried, guys. I'm rebuilding this channel on being honest about the games we love, and right now, I'm seeing the same red flags I saw with MK1. Too many characters, too many multiverse logic, and not enough focus on the heart of the franchise. Peter Parker is Spider-Man, Miles is great, and I'm sure Cindy will be cool, but don't bury the legend just to sell more DLC. What do you guys think? Is 3 Spideys a crowd, or are you guys hyped to swing at Silk? To be honest, I'm personally excited for Silk. I just want them to execute it really good. But anyways, let me know in the comments. If you're new here, hit that sub button. I'm gonna leave that in. I stutter too. I stutter all the time. If you're new here, guys, hit that sub button and join the Mr. Frosty Flames Legion. Anyways, Mr. Frosty Flames out. Thank y'all for watching.